is on the topic of ADT stacks and exceptions. So here we have 4 possible executions of this given code. So before reading, let's see what we're actually searching. So we're given with 4 options. It either executes with no output and it does so with no errors, or it throws an empty stack exception, or it outputs 0, or it throws a null pointer except. So what do we have here? We have that we've instantiated a stack of integers, generic given integers, and we called it stack, and it's an instance of a new stack new stack class. And just a side note, the fact that you see an integer here means that Java compiler can automatically tell you or sense that this should also, so you might say that it does not execute properly because there's no integer here. However, Java compiler is sort of smart in that sense, taking that contextual knowledge that you're instantiating a new stack that holds integers, and thus using that idea. Now we're saying that, let's actually make a diagram here for a stack. So we have a stack diagram here, the block, and so we push here the number 1. Now this is at state 0, right? Or I can say basically after line 1, this is where we're at, or line 2 really. And then after line 3, we've taken out this element 1, and then we basically have a void. This is the issue. We are pushing some value 1, and that's in line 2. That works perfectly fine. That is correct. There's nothing wrong with this or this. And then we pop, which is completely fine. We have an empty stack. But then we try and pop once, so we have a void, which is immediately not correct, right? You shouldn't be trying to take something from an empty list or an empty stack. There's nothing there. So we know it can't successfully function, right? So it can't output a 0, nor can it output nothing with no exceptions and no error. So now we need to understand which error actually occurred. Now, both are sort of highly probable. The fact that you are pulling from an empty stack means that you're trying to take a null value, and the fact that you're pulling from a stack in general means that there are inbuilt exceptions in the stack method and stack class that sort of predict that users might take from an empty stack. So both are sort of equally plausible. Now what I'm going to tell you is that stacks sometimes actually take null value. Okay? There are specific implementations of stack that allow for the storage of null values. So if this was that type of stack, this could have been legally a null value. The use cases for this are specific and specialized, but there are some implementations that allow for null. So I'd say for the most safe bet, B is even if we had been specified that this is not one of those implementations, you need to realize that those who implemented this class have predicted that this will be an error. So immediately it would not do a null pointer exception. For more clarification, you can visit the Java API or the Java doc for full idea as to when errors actually okay. That's the Java API or Java docs. These two will give you the most formal documentation on how Java works, how the compiler works, as well as how our errors are thrown. Hopefully that helped.